I hope that you are enjoying our plants and seed unit. It's a little bit difficult to teach it to the extent that we would like to, with us not being at school together in a building. But I hope that you have grown your sunflower seeds, and I hope that you have seen some of them sprout by now. If you have, I'd love to see a picture, so send me a picture of you with your seeds. Um, and I would love to read to you a story that is very, very full of information. And this story is by Gail Gibbons, and it is called From Seed to Plant. Most plants make seeds. A seed contains the beginning of a new plant. You can see on this page pictured there is a tulip, a daisy, a rose, a pea, a buttercup, and corn. Seeds are different shapes, sizes, and colors. Some of you had these seeds in your nature journals last week. I remember seeing some of these little helicopter seeds and the seeds from dandelions. But you can see there's all sorts of little seeds. There's large acorns and teeny tiny seeds. You can tell this is corn. This is likely a bean. Here's a sunflower, which you have also planted. Right here is a sunflower seed. All seeds grow into the same kind of plant that made them. So a sunflower seed is going to turn into a sunflower. An acorn is going to turn into an oak tree. A corn seed is going to turn into corn. So the seed grows into the same kind of plant that made them. Many plants grow flowers. Flowers are where most seeds begin. Here is an apple tree, a zinnia, dandelion, aster. A flower is made up of many parts. So there's the stem. Here are the big, beautiful petals. And it says here, in the sticky part at the top of the pistil is the stigma. So this right here is the stigma. In the center of the flower is the pistil. Stamens make yellow powder called pollen. So you can see the pollen on all of the tips here. And the parts of the flower around the pistil are called the stamens. So you can see we have our pistil, the stigma, and the stamens. And on top of the stamens are the pollen. And the pollen is what our bees like. Before a seed can begin to grow, a grain of pollen from the stamen must land on the stigma at the top of the pistil of a flower like itself. This is called pollination. Pollination happens in different ways. Often, wind blows pollen from flower to flower. So you can see in this picture, the wind is blowing the pollen from both flowers so that they are getting mixed. Bees, other insects, and hummingbirds help pollinate too. While they visit flowers for their sweet juice called nectar, pollen rubs onto their bodies. Then they carry the pollen to another flower where it comes off onto its pistil. So you can see on this page, we have the bumblebee. The bumblebee is drinking the sweet nectar from this flower, but while he's there, the pollen will get onto his body. He'll fly to another flower, and the pollen will fall off and mix with this flower. The same happens with a hummingbird. The hummingbird is drinking the nectar from the flower. While the hummingbird is there, pollen will get onto the hummingbird, and the hummingbird will fly to a new flower. If a pollen grain from a flower lands on the pistil of the same kind of flower, It grows a long tube through the pistil into an ovule, and this is the beginning of the seed. So the seed will begin to develop once the pollen is mixed. The seed grows inside the flower even as the flower begins to die. As the seeds become bigger, a fruit or a pod grows around them. The fruit or the pod protects the seed. So you can see here, inside this flower is a pod, and inside the pod are the seeds that are growing. The same is true for a plant like a bean. All of the bean seeds are inside the pod, and the pod is for protection. When the fruit or the pod ripens, it breaks open and the seeds are ready to become new plants. Some seeds fall to the ground around the base of the plant where they will grow. So you can see here, these seed pods have finished growing and they have burst open and the seeds are dropping. The same is true for this bean. The bean pod is split and ready to be opened and the seeds come out. Some pods or fruits open and the seeds pop out. Sometimes when birds eat berries, they drop the seeds while they fly away. So you can see this one shoots the pod seeds right out into the air, and so the wind might carry the seeds away from this plant's base. This bird has taken some of the seeds and is taking them maybe to its nest, and while it flies away, several of them have dropped onto the ground. Other seeds fall into the streams, the ponds, or the rivers, or even the ocean, and there they travel on the water until they stick to dirt along a shore. The wind also scatters seeds. Some seeds have fluff on them that lets them float to the ground like tiny parachutes. Others have wings that spin as they fall. Last week when we met together on our Zoom call, you showed me some of these helicopter-like seeds, as well as some of the dandelions that have the fur, both of which the Lord created for the wind to be able to use so that they can fly to a different location and grow. Animals also help scatter seeds. They hide acorns and nuts in the ground, and some seeds even have hooks on them that stick to the fur of animals or to people's clothes, and later they drop off onto the ground in a new location. A flower bed or vegetable garden is beautiful. Seeds are planted to grow in the gardens. The seeds come in small, tiny little envelopes or boxes, and directions explain how to plant the seeds and care for the plants. If you have gardens at home that you are growing, they might be a container garden or a large garden in your backyard, I would love for you to share those pictures with me so that we can show our class different seeds that you are growing. This is something we're going to learn about more this week. It says the beginning of a plant is curled up inside each seed. Food is stored inside the seed too, and the seed has a seed coat at the outside to protect it. So if you look at the parts of the seed here, you will notice that there is a hard outer edge to the seed, and that is called the seed coat. And inside the seed coat is the beginning of the plant. And inside the seed is everything that this seed needs to grow while it is underground, except for the water and the sunshine, of course. But once this seed is placed into the ground, it has everything it needs to allow the seed coat to break and the beginning of the plant to start to shoot up and hopefully reach the air. So it says a seed will not sprout until certain things happen. First, it must be on or in the soil. Then it needs the rain to soak the seed and soften the seed coat. So as it rains and as the seed is watered, this hard outer seed coat begins to soften. And when the sun shines and warms the ground, the seed coat breaks open and the seed begins to grow. This is called germination. A root grows down into the soil. The root takes in all the water and the minerals from the soil for food. And up grows a shoot. Green leaves grow up from the shoot toward the sun. So you can see that the little seed coat has softened, and so it breaks away and allows the shoot, or the beginning of the plant, to start to germinate. So as the sun warms the earth and the water falls, the root sucks up all the water, all of the vitamins, and it begins to allow our new plant to grow. Then you will notice here that the sunshine has warmed the earth, the root has done its job, and it has sucked up all the rainwater and all the vitamins to allow our plant to grow towards the sun. The plant grows bigger and bigger, and the leaves make food for the plant from the water and the minerals in the soil, the sunlight and the air all around the plant. Finally, the plant is full grown. Buds on the plant open into flowers where new seeds will grow. So now that the plant is full grown, it has created flowers, and these flowers now contain the seeds that started the plant in the first place. So isn't that amazing that God created such a beautiful, beautiful order and such a wonderful design to not only create the plants, but to create a seed that is so perfectly formed to where it can survive people walking or hummingbirds and bees